The cold December wind howled through the empty bus stop as Emma sat on the hard metal bench, her fingers trembling against the thin fabric of her worn coat. The city lights shimmered across puddles left by the morning rain, and the clock on her phone blinked past 9 p.m. She'd been sitting there for over 3 hours, waiting, hoping, and trying not to cry. Every bus that passed seemed to carry away a little more of her courage. She'd stayed late again, finishing a project her team had long abandoned, only to find that her last bus had stopped running. The streets had emptied, and her phone battery was dying. But what truly hurt wasn't the cold, or the fatigue, or even the loneliness. It was the weight of being unseen. She was invisible in her own life, the quiet one in the office, the one who smiled politely but was never truly noticed, the one who worked through lunch, stayed after hours, and carried everyone else's burdens without being asked. And now, as the city began to fall asleep, she wondered, was this all her life would ever be? Just waiting, alone, for something or someone that might never come. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet strength of ordinary people, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like Emma's deserve to be heard. The night air bit at her cheeks as Emma finally stood, deciding to walk home. It was nearly 6 miles, but walking felt better than waiting. Her shoes splashed through the shallow puddles, and each step echoed against the empty streets. Streetlights flickered like tired eyes, and in that quiet, she thought of her mother, how she used to tell her that life had a funny way of testing those who had the gentlest hearts. "You have to keep your light, no matter how dark it gets, sweetheart," her mother would say. But her mother had passed away 2 years ago, and since then, that light had dimmed into something fragile, something uncertain. Emma worked as an assistant at a marketing firm in Chicago. It wasn't glamorous, but she'd once been proud of it, proud of how she'd climbed from being an unpaid intern to a full-time employee. But lately, every day felt like a test she couldn't pass. Her boss, Nathan Carter, a man known for his sharp mind and colder demeanor, was respected and feared in equal measure. He rarely spoke to her beyond work-related instructions, and when he did, it was clipped and professional. Yet, strangely, she admired him. He was everything she wasn't, confident, certain, unshakable. That morning had begun like any other. The gray clouds hung low, matching her mood. She had spilled coffee on her blouse, missed breakfast, and found a pile of last-minute tasks waiting on her desk. But she had smiled anyway, because that's what she did. Smile, nod, work harder. No one noticed when she stayed behind to fix the team's presentation after everyone left early. No one thanked her when she covered for their mistakes. No one offered her a ride when they saw her shivering at the bus stop. She was tired of being the one who cared too much. By the time she reached her apartment that night, her legs ached and her spirit felt heavier than ever. She collapsed onto her small couch, pulled the thin blanket over herself, and cried quietly into the silence. The next morning, she woke up late. Her alarm hadn't gone off, and she rushed through the morning routine with shaking hands. She knew she'd be late, and Nathan hated tardiness. Her stomach twisted as she entered the office, trying to slip in unnoticed, but his voice cut through the air. "Miss Miller, in my office." Her heart sank. She followed him, bracing for the reprimand. His office was sleek and minimalistic, with a view that stretched over the entire city. Nathan stood by the window, hands in his pockets, his reflection sharp against the glass. He didn't look angry, just unreadable. "You're 15 minutes late," he said flatly. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter," she murmured. "It won't happen." Again. "It shouldn't," he replied, then turned slightly. "You've been staying late, every night." She hesitated. "Just trying to finish the projects on time." He nodded, his expression unchanged. "I see. Make sure you manage your workload better." And that was it. No acknowledgement, no understanding. She left his office feeling smaller than ever. The days blurred together after that. Her routine became mechanical. Wake up, go to work, stay late, go home. The world around her moved fast, but she felt stuck, like she was fading into the background of her own story. Until one Friday night changed everything. The team had a big client presentation on Monday. Everyone was excited, planning drinks after work. But Emma stayed back again, fixing a mistake that could have cost them the deal. She watched the last of her colleagues leave, laughing as the elevator doors closed. She told herself she didn't mind. It was just one more late night. But as the hours passed, the office grew silent. The only sound was the hum of computers and the ticking of the wall clock. Midnight came and went. She finally packed up, exhaustion weighing her down, and went outside, only to find the street deserted and the buses long gone. Her phone battery blinked red. She sat on the bench outside the office, too drained to move. The cold crept in slowly, numbing her fingers and toes. She didn't cry this time. She just sat there, her mind empty, her body frozen, and her hope fading with each passing minute. And then, headlights flashed across the street. A sleek black car pulled up, and to her shock, Nathan stepped out. He was still in his suit, his tie loosened, his expression unreadable in the dim light. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was thick, heavy with everything unsaid. Then he walked toward her, his breath visible in the cold air, and stopped just a few feet away. "You forgot something," he said quietly. Emma blinked, confused. What?" He looked at her with an expression she'd never seen before. Soft, almost tender. "You forgot your smile." The words hit her like a wave she didn't see coming. She didn't know why, but tears suddenly filled her eyes. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. As if he finally saw her. As if, after all this time, someone had looked past her silence and seen the person she truly was. She covered her face, ashamed of crying, but Nathan gently placed his coat over her shoulders. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said. "Come on, I'll drive you home." The car ride was quiet at first. Emma stared out the window, watching the streetlights blur into streaks of gold. Nathan drove slowly, his usual impatience replaced by something else. Concern, perhaps. Halfway through the drive, he finally spoke. "I know you've been the one holding everything together at work. You think I don't notice, but I do. You take on everyone's work and you never complain. That kind of heart, it's rare." She didn't know what to say. For the first time in months, she felt warmth spreading through the cracks in her heart. He dropped her off at her apartment and said, "Take the weekend off. Rest. And when you come back Monday, bring your smile. The office feels empty without it." She watched him drive away, his taillights disappearing into the night. For the first time in a long while, she smiled. A real, trembling, grateful smile. Over the weekend, she thought a lot about those words. You forgot your smile. It wasn't just about happiness. It was about her spirit, her kindness, her light. The parts of herself she had been losing in the endless grind of trying to be enough. She decided to stop hiding, to live again, not just exist. When Monday came, she arrived at the office early. Her co-workers noticed the change immediately. She was still quiet, still gentle, but there was something different. A calm confidence that made people turn and look. Even Nathan seemed a little taken aback when she greeted him with that warm smile. Over the following weeks, small things began to change. She started taking her lunch breaks outside, laughing with a colleague, suggesting ideas during meetings. Her ideas, once ignored, began to draw attention. Nathan began asking for her input, genuinely listening. Then came the day their firm landed a major client, a success that hinged largely on Emma's late-night revisions weeks before. During the celebration meeting, Nathan raised his glass and said, "Some people work behind the scenes, and we don't always see them, but their efforts light the way for everyone else. Emma, thank you for reminding us that kindness and dedication are the real strengths of this team." Applause filled the room, and Emma's eyes glistened. She hadn't expected recognition, but in that moment she felt something even more powerful than pride. She felt seen. Months later, life wasn't perfect, but it was full again. Emma found a rhythm, a balance. She learned to say no when she needed to rest when her body asked for it, to speak up for herself. And Nathan, he became not just a boss, but a quiet friend, someone who reminded her that even the smallest acts of kindness could change a life. Sometimes, on her way home, she'd stop by that old bus stop and sit for a while, watching the city lights flicker against the dark sky. It wasn't loneliness anymore, it was peace. She had found herself again in the simplest of gestures, a reminder to smile, and she never forgot it. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps more people discover stories that remind us of compassion, hope, and the quiet beauty of second chances. Special request, comment below. Have you ever met someone who reminded you to smile when you'd forgotten how? Because sometimes that one person's kindness can change everything.